my kitchen. So today I'm going to show you how I decorate my biscuits using royal icing, just because lots of you have mentioned that you find this challenging, especially getting the royal icing to the right consistency, because you know it's like too runny and then it's too thick and then just gets really messy. So hopefully this video will be able to help you out a little bit in getting started, and I'm going to be covering all of the key techniques in using royal icings, like flooding and outlining and painting on it, the things you can do like lacework and details and all of that stuff. So then from there you'll have a foundation of everything and you can go forth and create whatever takes your fancy. So yeah, in this video I'm just going to be decorating some dinosaurs and some cactus things and some plants. But obviously you can decorate whatever you like. I'll get some stuff to pop up on screen of stuff I've done in the past, just so you have some ideas of what you could do with the techniques I'm going to show you. Yeah, it's such a great thing to learn. Once you've got the foundations, you can do whatever that you would normally do on a piece of paper easily. So of course it's biscuit decorating, so you are going to need some biscuits. So I just made these earlier and there's some little dinosaurs. And then of course you're going to need some food dyes. So here are my very messy food dyes, but get some nice good quality ones and just pick out whatever colours you want to decorate biscuits. So I've got some greens for like plants and stuff, and oranges and pinks just because I love orange and pink. And then here is just some piping bags, so I just get some cheap flimsy ones, so they don't have like a seam along there, which makes it a lot easier to pipe, and I just cut the tip with some scissors, so you don't even need any piping tips, which just makes it a lot easier to do and a lot quicker to wash up. And then you just need some egg white in there, and then also some icing sugar, and you're going to mix those two together to make your royal icing. And I'm going to show you how to get a good consistency with that, because that can be one of the most daunting things when you're first starting out, trying to get it just right, so not too wet and not too stiff. And that's it really for stuff that you need. So I'm just going to show you how to make the royal icing first. So just going to shove all of this one kind of side up there. So I'm just going to slide in my KitchenAid, but you don't really require like a stand mixer, you can just do this by hand. I'm just really lazy, so I just like having a machine to do stuff for me. Okay, so to this bowl I'm just going to start with like 250 grams of icing sugar. And then I'm just going to add so 30 grams of this egg white into here, and then the consistency probably won't be about right then, but it's a good starter, and then we can adjust by adding a bit more egg white or a bit more icing sugar. Come on, egg white. I think that's right. So now I'm just going to lower that down and whisk it just slowly until it all just comes together. Oh yeah, and that's another tip, it is good to whisk it on slow rather than like super fast, because if you whisk it really fast you're going to get air bubbles in your icing and then you have to pop them later and it just makes it harder. So whisk it on slow. And you can go chill out and have a cup of tea right now and then come back. Okay, so that right now is pretty stiff. Let me show you. Yeah, so it's pretty stiff in there. It's not even gonna flow or move out the bowl. So definitely needs more egg white to adjust. I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time, whisk it again, see where we're at. So I like the look of that now. Let me show you. It kind of flows really well like that, and then you can create a bit of a ribbon, and then if you count sort of up to 10 seconds it's all gonna disappear and go smooth and flat. So that's how you know on a biscuit it's gonna smooth itself out. So yeah, with royal icing I do think it's a little bit like trial and error, and you kind of have to get a feel for what the right consistency is. But also, it's kind of not the end of the world if your icing isn't the perfect consistency. I just cut the piping bag up again and squeeze it back out, and then readjust the consistency, and that's totally fine to do. I still do that sometimes, just when I'm having an off day. So now that you've got the consistency, just divide it up into bowls and dye them different colours. Oh, and one thing as well about this icing I forgot to mention is, so sometimes people do like 2 different icing consistencies, one for outlining and then one for flooding, so that's like a runnier consistency that you pipe in the middle of it. But I have just done one consistency for the both. So it's kind of trickier when you got to do that, but I find it works really well when I'm doing quite small biscuits. So I'm only doing these like tiny dinosaurs. But you can play about and try both ways. Now I'm just going to put all of these different colours into different piping bags, and just the easiest way to do this is get your piping bag and then put it into the glass, and then you just scoop it straight in. And then fold it up, and then you just knot the top so it's not going to come leaking out the back end. Okay, so now I've got all my colours, which shouldn't take too long actually. If you do tons and tons of colours, that takes a long time. So it's worth it when you get them all because they make a nice, you know, they look lovely together, all the different colours. Okay, so I'm going to start by showing you how to outline on this little dinosaur right here. So I'm just going to cut like a really small tip on the end of this piping bag. It's only a tiny biscuit. Test how it blows. Blows nice. And then just use this to pipe an outline on the dinosaur. You just follow all the edges. So you don't drag the piping bag like you would with a pen. You kind of lift it and guide the icing into place instead. So it just kind of flows. So this is just a nice simple outline. Just go all around the whole edge. Okay, and now you just use the same piping bag to fill in all the centre. Just work fast because the icing sets. So if you work too slowly, the icing is going to set and then it's going to look a bit lumpy and not that nice, smooth kind of finish that you want. Now if I had 2 piping bags with both the same colour, you could make this a bit quicker by having like a bigger hole to pipe out from, but I've run out of piping bags, so that's why I'm just doing it with this one size. But it's fine. It's like doing a colouring in book. Done! So something else you might find handy to have is just a little toothpick, because you can use this to pop any bubbles that might have emerged, or just to swizzle it around to make it all even, but there's no bubbles, so we're all good. I'm just going to leave that dinosaur, just pop it to the side a little bit and leave it to semi-set. It will kind of form like a bit of a crust on top, and then that makes it easier to pipe the next layer so that it doesn't just disappear into the first layer. So whilst it's kind of semi-setting, I'm going to work on another dinosaur. So this one, I don't actually know what that dinosaur is called actually, one with horns. So with this dinosaur, I'll show you a slightly different technique that you can use in lots of different ways really. So this is the wet on wet technique. Just going to pipe this just the same as before. Then I'm going to get another colour, and then I'm just going to pipe some dots straight onto the orange flood icing, and that will just sink in. Then you have like a polka dot dinosaur. So you could just leave it like that, or you could actually get your toothpick and then run it through. So maybe you want to do different shapes, so like you could do little hearts if you just drag it through like that. And now you have a tiny little dinosaur with some little hearts. So that is the wet on wet technique, and I've just shown you like a small amount of what you can do with it, because you can also do like little flowers, you can do like tie-dye effects, you could do like really cool sunsets and gradients with it. You can do so much cool stuff, but you just need to experiment with your icing and your trusty little toothpick and your biscuits. Now I've gone through flooding, outlining and the wet on wet technique. Now I'm just going to show you how to pipe on top. So this little dinosaur is semi-set now, so I can pipe on top whatever I want. So I think for this little guy, I am going to give it a scarf. I'm just going to pipe my green icing on top. Use a toothpick just to spread it to the edges. This dinosaur I've done before, and you can see how the scarf is kind of raised, so it's not just all one flat level. So to get that raised effect, you need the first layer to dry, and then you pipe the second one on top. Whilst I'm waiting for it to dry, I might as well work on another biscuit. So I'm going to show you how to add like little details, so eyes and stuff like that. So one way is you can use an edible ink pen, and when your icing is completely set, then you can literally just get the pen and draw on it. And these aren't completely set, so they take like good few hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, preferably like overnight to completely set. But I'm just going to demonstrate on a biscuit that I have done before, so it is all completely set. So I can just get my edible pen and, I don't know, maybe I want to draw some rings around some of these dots just to layer it up and add a little bit more interest to it. So I can literally just draw straight onto it. And it just gives you a lot of freedom to create whatever it is that you want to create. Another thing you can do when your icing is completely set is you can paint on it. So you can paint on it and literally do anything that you would do normally on a bit of paper. All you use is some food dye, so that's just some gel food dye mixed with a little bit of water, and use your paintbrush and paint whatever you would like. You can also combine that with your edible ink pen if you wanted to as well. So maybe I want to add like some extra details here, and it just really defines certain bits. Maybe I want to add some really little lines in here. So yeah, between painting and using your pen and also piping, using the wet and wet technique and then other techniques, you can create so much, and I'm not even showing you everything yet. I'm going to show you some more. And it's also fine if you don't have an edible ink pen, just pipe on the details if you're really careful and have a really fine tip at the end. So with this dinosaur, because it's not fully set, I'm just going to pipe on the eye there, instead of adding it with my edible pen. And here's another thing I love about royal icing. Say if you make a mistake and you go, oh whoops, I've put my line wrong, then just get a toothpick and like scrape it off. Scrape it off, start again. And on this dinosaur, I'm going to show you another technique. So this is, it looks tricky, but it's not as tricky as it looks. It's like icing lacework, so you're doing really fine lines and building them up so you get like a pattern. And there's so many different things you can create with it. You can create lots of different texture. You can create things that look like cross stitch and embroidery. So it's something you can play about with, but I'll just show you some basics. Now I think my pink dinosaur, the scarf bit, is semi-set, so I'm ready to finish it off. So I'm just going to decorate this cactus now, and within decorating it I'm going to show you how to combine like the wet on wet technique and then letting it semi-set and then piping lines on top and some little details as well. covers all of the key elements of biscuit decorating using royal icing, so outlining and flooding, and then painting on set icing, as well as using a pen on set icing, and then using more icing to add details on top, everything that we've covered. So I hope you found that really helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Bye!